The term hunter-gatherer that is used so much for Native people, actually here in the Northwest they had to come up with a whole new category because they were very advanced for what was traditionally considered hunter-gatherer, and they finally, I think, have finally conceded, probably in all areas of the sciences, that the people here were definitely agriculturists in many different ways, not just quasi-agricultural. They were pretty seriously agriculturists in the way they managed their lands and even their shellfish beds, all their harvesting areas. They still are named and known, and in many cases, families still consider ownership of them, whether the government agrees or not. That's their, those are their clam beds, or those are their berry picking areas. So, and they were managed not only by fire, but by plant species selection, even movement of plants. I think that wapato was moved around, which is a root that grows in wetlands. And so I think that the whole maybe the negative context around hunter-gatherer being a primitive culture certainly did not apply here, and that's now pretty universally accepted, that they were pretty advanced agriculturists. And following many of the practices we talk about in permaculture and stacking function and following seasons, and I think we talked earlier, I think it's really important, it's just the knowledge of place and really gaining that knowledge that lends itself to that.
So when you say that they're agriculturists, does that mean that, back before the white folks showed up, that they had like rows of crops and stuff like that?
No, these would be naturally grown, and in their environment they'd be simply enhancing the already natural systems. And there's that knowledge of place and those systems that I think made that they could make it more productive. So that act of turning the soil when you harvest the roots, whether it's camas or any of them, you're actually doing cultivation at that time, and at the same time you're also eliminating plants that you don't want growing there, and then distributing seed. You're just shaking seeds around, and even the smaller bulbs are getting replaced so that they can settle deeper in the soil get larger size. And then the act of burning to eliminate competition, but it also creates nutrients for the soil. So, and that wasn't just in camas prairies. The burning was used in all heavy vegetated areas for berry production. And they talk about that all the time. It almost seems like the forest, the early settlers or explorers noted that the forest grew right to the edge as though it was a cultivated field that they were familiar with seeing in Europe, but growing in its place was the native species that had been selected for that purpose.
If you like this sort of thing, come on out to the forums at permies.com, where we talk about ancestral skills, homesteading, and permaculture all the time.